Emotional pain, I suppose, when it does not destroy, can offer some avenue of healing. Pain does not heal in and of itself, it is an opportunity, because without it we will insensible fasten, like some mollusk species, a mussel or clam, onto the rock of the natural plane and the viscosity of its paradigm, and the mind of consciousness radiates outward with its quantum thoughts, as it were, and strengthens the reality it perceives and observes. And our minds are vulnerable to such viscosity. Now many of the myriad of beings out there in the dimensions have a war with the unapproachable God of existence. And as these creatures cannot fight God directly, they must descend to the closest alternative, and take their war to the children of God, the humans, and the way to destroy the humans is to destroy them from within. Now we know, as God had told a man of God, that the system of the dragons is the system of the needle, and the needle attacks the brain, or the mind of the brain. Now these dark beings, dragon-like in expression, are subject to the mind of the humans on two accounts. The first being, simply, that the mind of the human is assigned a greater plane of existence even through its organicity, and secondly, they are subject, because they make war, and when a thing makes war it must play something of the table, it can no longer withdraw the card it plays, it is the law of a trespass. And these beings, being subject so, must fight with all they got. Now the mind of the brain collects ideas, memories, templates, and collects the negative ones especially when it feels the self as injured, fear, worthlessness, a marvelous cacophony of noise. These thoughts penetrate deep, and are needles on two accounts, the first being its ability to penetrate so deep, and the second is that it stabs, and keeps stabbing, like a knife to subdue and destroy the true self, and its awareness of itself. The needle is after the awareness of exquisite self. I suppose that the only way to destroy the cacophony of needles of the dragons is awareness of the exquisite self, and its feeling. I had perceived this idea this morning, that is, the awareness of the exquisite self is the erasure. It is the only thing that will erase the needles. Because the deeper mind will only forget, or trade, on the platform, or permissible allowance of something else. Now, because the memories or needles are not entirely incorporeal, that is, the thoughts are linked to the neurons of the brain, we need a second step. And the second or added step is a function of time and organicity. Which is to say, we must meditate on our new thoughts, taking time, forgetting everything in the moment of that meditation, tell our minds what to think, because it does not have a steering wheel. And considering the beings out there in deep space that make war with our minds, we can recall the Leviathan. This being is also called the world spirit, the serpent that coils around the egg, or the world, and of course, from the Bible, the fleeing serpent, and or the twisting serpent, as in the book of Isaiah. In that day the Lord with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea. I had read the account of Micah Turnbow with interest. The archangel Michael declared, "The Leviathan has fallen, the Leviathan has fallen." Then the fallen Leviathan approached heaven to swallow it all, wanting the minds of the angels. And almost succeeded had Yahweh himself not arrived. He grabbed the serpent. The creature coiled and twisted around the arm of God. Then God flung it into some deep place. I wonder what is the nature of this creature, the source of its strength, what it once was, and why it is after the minds of things. Some esoteric groups conceive something of the agency or Hebrew letter nun inside it. Perhaps it is a reflective being of the letter nun, but I don't know. Meanwhile, the agency of the letter nun cannot save humanity. A while back, 2 days in a row, I saw with my eyes closed, in my inner mind, this creature, just its head popping through some dimension, looking at me, and a small white drop of poison dropped from its mouth. That it happened twice in a row made me alert. It was as if God had said to me, a week later, the Leviathan wants to cause madness in your mind. Here I am trying to pay off my mortgage, and now I have to deal with this creature. I suppose it uses confusion and despair to impute madness. But I suppose it wants to make all of humanity insane. Now in the spiritual dimensions a thing can change its state, they can not only grow in a way, their states can change. I suspect, with mere assumption, that the state of the Leviathan not only changed when it fell into corruption, but that the act of coiling around the arm of Yahweh and being flung out, caused an imprint into its state, changing its state and its name, to the coiling serpent and the fleeing serpent. In the meantime, on our part, let us think lovely thoughts.